Hello friend, this is my YouTube channel IT Pro. You can watch it for a strongly foundation of information technology and promises you to give you conceptual knowledge in computer. Keep watching for latest videos. Time to time I will come with the latest video in computer. Thank you.
Next thing, I'm going to go to sheet 2. So I had used this plus sign to keep on adding more sheets. You can always double click on it and you can type something in there. So I can call this conditional formatting because I want to call it conditional formatting. So you double click on it, or you right click on it and you can choose rename. And you can also delete it if you wanted to delete the sheet. And in the tab color, I can set colors for the tabs so that they'll be visible so I can point to it. So in this example, I want to explain to you what is known as conditional formatting, which is meaning that it will do a formatting based on certain conditions. So if it meets a certain criteria, it will format it in a certain way, otherwise not. So in this cell, I'm going to do a simple math calculation equal to sales for 2000 minus sales for 2011, because I want to figure out whether my sales went up or down. So I'm going to use the check mark, and now I'm going to use the fill handle, and then there it is. So now I have some negative numbers and I have some positive numbers. So the condition I want to set is that make the negative numbers a certain color and make the positive numbers a different color. So again, you could highlight the whole column, or I could just highlight these cells. And I'll go to conditional formatting drop down button, highlight cell rules greater than, and in this I can type any number because I can say greater than 0, which will be all positive numbers, but you could put any numbers. You can even click on a cell where a number is typed if you wanted to. I can click in this drop down button and I can choose something green in color, or I can click in the drop down button and I can go to custom format, and from here I can choose a green color. I can choose more options if I needed it, and I can click OK, and I click OK. Now you see the positive numbers have a green color. I'll go back while it is highlighted, highlight cell rules, less than, and less than 0 I want something red in color. So you can choose whatever from here, or go to custom format, and then I'll choose something red color, and I'll click OK, and I'll click OK. So there's the condition. Now if this number changes, 625 changes to 725, I hit enter. Now as soon as the number became positive, it became green in color. I can highlight this, I can go to conditional formatting, and there are other things you can set like icon sets. You see that as I'm pointing to it, it starts to change on the left hand side. So it added this. So a lot of things you can do here. If I change my mind, I can go back to conditional formatting, clear rules, and I can clear the rules from selected cells or from the entire sheet, so the sheet itself. So if I choose that, it will remove that. Now there are other ways you can set conditions. So to show that, I'll just click here on A. I'll go to conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, and I choose equal to. So you see there are a lot of other options that you can look at between, so you can choose certain numbers between this and this. Equal to, so I'll say if the cell information is equal to east, say I want to do something, I'll say make it yellow, and I'll click OK. So you see, as soon as it sees the east, it makes that color because it meets the criteria. So if I type east again, because I had highlighted the whole column, and I hit enter, it should have changed again, I think. Yeah. As soon as I click away, it starts to change. It's just my recording program having an effect. So that's another way you can set conditional formatting. Now let's talk a little bit about this format as table. What it means is that if I highlight this and I go to format as table, and I can choose any of these styles. So whatever styles I want, I choose one, and it will highlight the information. Even if you didn't, it would have highlighted it for you. Now it's asking me my table has a header, which is my region, and this is my header. So I need to leave it like that. If you didn't have a header, you can remove it. So I click OK, and now you see it shows up like a table with some drop down buttons for filtering, which we'll talk about in the next coming up videos. So you can filter it and say show me only east, and there are some tools for that you can do more. I'm just going to come to sheet 1 again, and just to show you something that if I wanted, I could highlight these months, and they have these cell styles. So if you wanted to apply some quickly something like heading 1 style, heading 2, heading 3, or I can make it certain colors. So you can just apply those cell styles quickly to wherever you wanted it. I'll come back to sheet 3. Conditional formatting. So up here I want to talk about this insert delete button. So say you made some mistakes and you wanted to add some rows, or you wanted to add a cell. You can use them using the insert rows button. So I can add rows, I can add columns, I can even delete rows or delete columns, or I can even delete cells. So just to show you this example, I'll click here on South and I can insert a sheet row, and you see it adds the row, and say this was like North 1.1, and now I can type something in there. Now if I wanted to delete that row, today you can do undo but not tomorrow, so I need to know. So I can click here and I choose delete sheet row because I'm clicked on that row, so it will delete that. You'll also find this option when you right click. You'll see the option to insert table rows above, because you are in a table, so it's giving you those options, and you can delete the tables rows or columns. So the same way up here, if I want it up here, I can insert a sheet column or a table column. So it adds an extra table column here. I'll come to sheet 1 just to show you the difference. If I click here, I go to insert. You see the table option's not here because I don't have a table. Now I can insert a sheet row above it, and then I can type Monday, Tuesday, and if I want, I can use the fill handle. And I'm on that row, so I can delete this sheet row. Now, say for example, I only wanted to move this first name, last name below. I wanted to type something else here. So I'll insert a cell, and I'll move the cell down because I wanted to move just the cell down, not the entire row. So you see now the cell has been moved down, and now up here I can type something else. Okay. So I need to highlight it and I can make it wrap. So that way I can insert a cell, and I can even insert a cell from the drop down button. I choose insert cell, and I can move it to the right. So that means this cell is empty now, and I can type something else. And if I wanted, I can only delete this cell by going to the delete cell option. And now if I wanted to move this first name, last name up, I can say move the cells up. So it's moved that up. So when you make mistakes in typing, the insert and delete options are very useful to allow you to move things around. And you don't have to waste your time deleting everything and typing everything all over again. So this is a very useful tool. So we'll now talk about the next thing for this video, and I only have 2 more things to cover. On sheet 3, I have this thing called concatenate functions. So there are a lot of functions in Excel that allow you to do this thing. So I'll introduce you a simple function called concatenate. What it does is I want to join my first name and last name together and put it in this cell. So to do this calculation, I have to go to Formulas tab, and this is a text. So there is a text category in the functions, and then I look for this function called concatenate, and you see when you point to it, it will always tell you what this function will do. Or if you want it, even when you are in home, you just click on this FX button, and you can type the word con and then hit enter, and then a lot of time you'll get those functions here. So let me try it again. Concatenate. I'll just concat, and I'll choose all, and I'll hit go. So usually the function should show up. Something's going wrong with this computer. I don't know why. I'll have to type the whole thing right now. Concatenate, and there it is. I'll click OK. and it opens up like this, which will do even from the other way. I'll just move this down a little. I'll point here and I'll move this down. Now what is my text one? I'll say my first name is my text one. So you don't type the word Amir. I click in the cell because that's the way we do things in Excel. And I'll click in the text two and I'll click on my last name and I'll click OK. And it will join my first and last name together. And now I can use the fill handle to move it down. So all the things will be done. So this is the way concatenate function works. Now I'll show it to you again in a different way, and this time I want to put a space in the middle. So I can go to formulas, text, concatenate. Now first name, text one is my first name. I go to text two. Now in the text two, I want to put a space, so I'll put the space button on the keyboard. I'll press it one time, so that will put a space. I go to text three, which is my last name. So you see, you can add multiple words together, which is called strings. So I can keep on adding up to 255 strings together. I click OK, and I look for the fill handle and I pull it down, and there it is with the spacing. So this is called concatenate. So if you had a whole bunch of things, you can just do this. Now on sheet 4, we'll do the last thing, which is I have my first name and last name together with a comma in the middle, and I want to split it up. So we are trying to do the reverse process of what we did with concatenate. So to do that, I'll go to the data tab, and in the data type they have an option called text to columns. I'll choose that, and it opens this wizard. Now in this wizard, it is asking me to choose, are you using some characters just such as comma or tabs, or is this a fixed width? Fixed width would mean that my first names are all the same length. So if in that character, those things, you can do that. But in this case, I need to use delimited because I'm using a comma. And I'll choose next. Now, what am I using? Am I using tab? I said, no, not tab. I'm using a comma. As soon as I choose that, you see that the line shows up here. So if you keep look in the bottom again, you see there is no line, comma, it puts it there. If I had used space, I choose the space. If other, I click in here, then I have to choose that character that I've used between them, whatever the character might be. So I'll put comma, I click next. Now you can format it if you want it for certain things. You can just leave it general for now. Now the destination is asking, where is the destination of this? If you want it, you could say the destination should be G2. So it will put it away. If you don't, then what it will do is it will overwrite the existing column. So let me show you what happens when I hit finish. So you see, it overwrites it. Amir is here and my last name is here. I'll do it one more time, but this time I'll highlight all of these guys. And I'll go to text to columns, delimited, next, comma is already chosen. I need to remove the other because I don't need it here. Next, and I choose finish, so they all have been moved. Now in this, I've got the colon, so I'll highlight it. I'll go to text to columns, delimited, next. Now instead of comma, I'll click in the other and I'll type the colon. So I'll have to type it here because I don't have the options here. I click next. Now instead of putting in the C2, I'll click this symbol here, and then I'll say put it to say G2. I'll bring this guy down back and I'll click finish. So you see it keeps it here, but then it splits the information on this side. So that should do it for this video.
Thank you. Thanks for watching my videos. And if you will like this video, please subscribe my channel